Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I'm Hamza Idris. Budget padding is a term used to describe the act of illegally inserting certain amount of money into the budget other than through proper channel of appropriation. It got traction in Nigeria's political lexicon during the 7th Assembly when House of Reps member Abdul Ningi alleged that the principal officers of the lower legislative chamber have padded the 2017 budget to the tune of 288 billion naira. This alleged corrupt legislative trade continued even with the 8th and 9th Assembly under President Muhammadu Buhari when an alleged accumulative padding of the 2021, 2022 and 2023 appropriations amounted to 1.8 trillion naira. As the nation's budget continued to grow into trillions of naira without corresponding impact on the citizens, padding is also growing in size, with the recent allegation by the suspended Bauchi Senator Abdul Ningi that the Godswill Akpabio-led 10th Senate has padded the 2024 appropriation by the Tinubu administration to the tune of 3.7 trillion naira, a claim that earned the fearless lawmaker a 3-month suspension. While the suspension of Senator Abdul Ningi generates concerns among civil society groups as it marks a possible attempt and cover-up by the Senate leadership, the revelation by another senator of a lopsided sharing formula with ranking senators taking up to 500 million naira of the suspected proceeds of the budget padding appeared to have opened another can of worms. It is against this backdrop we've been interfacing with an anti-corruption crusader, Mukhtar Halilu Modibbo, who is the Secretary General, Follow the Money, a unit of connected development, an Abuja-based non-governmental organization to discuss the evolution, intrigues, and impact of the budget padding on the ordinary citizens. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me on Solve.
And we'll take a short break. When we return, the conversation commences. Don't go away. Of course, before the conversation, here is a report on the issue.
Chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriation, Solomon Olamilekan, who moved the motion that led to the suspension of Senator Ningi, explained that the figure is not contained in the budget because some of the agencies are on first-line charge.
The two documents we have here was shared to the 109 senator of the Senate. Contained in this document, under the volume 1, paragraph 2, 3, and 4, is the breakdown of the 28.77 trillion budget that was passed.
However, Senator Ningi, who was given a fair hearing on the floor of the Senate, maintained his position that 3.7 trillion naira could not be accounted for in the 2024 budget.
The president's powers stopped as a proposal, as he proposed the budget. And I said, there is no way the National Assembly will add anything on the budget and it becomes padding.
Matters got worse when Senator Agom Jarigbe from Cross River North revealed that dwelling on the issues was counterproductive as lawmakers are culpable in the alleged budget padding scandal. He further revealed that while some lawmakers received 500 million naira, others got as much as 100 billion naira from the budget. Jarigbe's claim, however, did not go down well with his colleagues as his declaration threw the session in a rowdy one for nearly 30 minutes.
If we want to go into those issues, all of us are culpable. Some senators here, so-called senior senators, got 500 million each. I am a ranking senator, I didn't get. Did I go to the press?
Meanwhile, the Senate leader, Okayemi Bamidele, accused Senator Ningi of plotting a coup against the Akpabio Senate presidency. The Senate leader claimed that the Bauchi lawmakers' action was a fallout of the June 13, 2023 election of the Senate leadership, which produced Akpabio as the Senate president.
And in doing this, he wanted to use the platform of Northern Senators Forum. God bless all those who have dissociated themselves as members of Northern Senators Forum.
A member of the Appropriation Committee in the Senate, Jimo Ibrahim, first moved the motion for Ningi's suspension for 12 months over allegations of criminal misinformation and breach of peace in the National Assembly and the country by extension.
It should be warned to stop posting, inciting informations that are not right, and then he should tender apology. He should stop posting all those informations with a way of distorting facts.
However, other lawmakers like Senator Asuko Ekpeyong moved for the amendment of the motion by Ibrahim. Ekpeyong prayed for the reduction of the suspension.
I amend that the suspension period be reduced to 6 months. I so move.
After deliberations, the Senate resolved to suspend Senator Ningi for 3 months from all activities of Parliament, while Senator Kawu got off with a warning.
And is therefore suspended for a period of 3 months from partaking in events in the Senate or being found in the precincts of the National Assembly for the next 3 months.
Shortly after his suspension, Senator Abdul Ningi resigned his position as the chairman of Northern Senators Forum.
Yes, Modibbo. Almost 6 hours yesterday of back and forth in the Senate. Who is really telling the truth? I mean, can we say this is the mother of all pardon in the history of pardon in Nigeria?
No, this is not even an issue. We've seen a time during the 2016 appropriation where the entire appropriation that was submitted got missing.
Got missing?
Yes, so a committee had to be set by the then Senate President in person of Bukola Saraki, and I think it was Danjuma Goje of Gombe and some other senators to investigate that matter.
To search for the missing budget.
For the missing budget. And then the then Senator Itaena, who is
from Akwa Ibom.
He was the
liaison.
The special advisor to the president on the House of
more
the Senate. Yes, more or less liaison officer and said that they have submitted this document and this is it. At the long run, we were the Senate was able to put it together. But the reality is what happened is rather shameful, or really it's not something that as a citizen or as someone that has been doing this particular kind of work expected from the 10th Senate. You know, there was a conversation about budget pardon. And if you look at it, it's out there. Maybe that conversation has violated this, some level of act and some level of rationalism and process of the Senate. So I think further investigation, not just fair hearing, that was given to him that is Abdul Ningi in the House of the Senate.
That's the question I wanted to ask. Who is actually telling the truth? Because Nigerians are still asking, who is right? Is it Ningi that is right, or Akpabio-led Senate that is right?
So if you ask me,
yes,
I will categorically tell you, and I will stand by my word, Abdul Ningi is right. Now, why did I say he's right? There are some level of funds ranking to almost 2.7 trillion that was not classified. What are they meant to be doing, right? So when we said pardon, we're not saying completely. There is a development part of pardon, right, of budget. So it's that level of adding some level of resources, right, illegally or through a fraudulent way that will not send development into what we're seeing as budget. We're a developing nation. We tend to see some things like this. 2022, 2021, 2019, 2020 budget has had this share of budget pardon. I know of the time of Abdul Mumini Jibril and what have you. But the reality here
is... Which we quoted in our intro.
So what the reality here is, what do we tend to see? The investigation of what this money are meant to be earmarked. So now, the senator in question mentioned some level of resources, some levels of amount that he said is not tied to, something that we will hold, and track, and that is a thing. So I think the best thing that the Senate could do, even if he is wrong in saying that, right, is to set up a committee, which they are known for. Right, set up a committee, and the committee should do a thorough investigation and come back, right, and now say what will happen. Now, the repercussion is who will represent the interests of people of Bauchi North, right? Who will represent their interests for the next 3 months? You know, we all know that the Constitution said they cannot expel any senator because they didn't elect him, but at some point it's silent around suspension, and he's been suspended for 3 months. obviously his people's interest will not be protected. And I just watched the State Executive Council of Bauchi State, and the governor said they stand by their senator, and this
just
is
the way you stand by him.
By him. So I am not standing by him in particular. What I am standing is the process that was done to indict him is not the real process that should be followed.
Why do you think they rush in suspending him? Is it a kind of cover-up? Are you suspecting some cover-up?
And that is the problem. And immediately he is being suspended. There are news that's carrying along that the president of the Senate moved to see Mr. President on a closed-door meeting. What are they discussing? We understand that governance is all about having the interests of the people, trying to put things together that will reduce the hardship of the people that we are going through, right? But the reality is someone had an accusation or someone said something and you felt that it's not supposed to be so, right? So all you needed to do is, after giving him that fair hearing, I expected, right, as give him that point of set a committee to investigate the matter and come back with the position of that committee on his claim, whether accepting that claim or rejecting the claim. But now what we have is him being suspended. As I'm speaking to you, as an organization, we're running through the budget again and again to come up with a stand on that. But the stand is going to be like we analyzing the budget, because I could tell you from 2016 up till this 469 legislators, their constituency project has been secrecy. You know why? Because some level of, they are not involved in money, but they still find their way, you know, in trying to know how their constituency projects are going. And if you look at the budget, if you look at Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, you know, there are some level of things, money that were marked for the Senate President's constituency, that it's to procure some level of freezers for market women and stuff like that. So if you see that amount, is something questionable, right?
How questionable is it?
Questionable in the sense that we all live in this country, and I don't know the kind of amount that were marked. I don't know what kind of freezers that thing will buy. I cannot say the amount on the top of my head, but I know it's something we are coming up with an analysis, a comprehensive analysis, and I'm 100% sure we're going to share, and the public will know. But I think the main thing the public need to do is to ask questions. And, you know, ask question to whether or not what happened is had happened, or what can we do moving forward, because padding has been a thing that is reoccurring in our budget cycle.
From billions, it is now rolling into trillions.
In trillions, and we don't know what it will go into.
Where are we getting it wrong? I mean, is it in the budget process, or we just keep repeating the same mistakes because nobody to, you know, check and cross-check some of these details?
So, Malamza, if you look at this whole thing, is we have always had a conversation, even here, talking about budget is the want and the need of the people, right? And you cannot get the want and the need of the people without conducting a comprehensive need assessment to ascertain the level of what people want and what people need. And that is what slumble into what we call budget for government, right? So the reality is, to some extent, what we do is that need assessments are not being carried along comprehensively for us to say this is what we want. It's just that level of people sit down together and come up with a document and share. And then some level of things is, if you look at the budget defense we do, and then the budget town hall meetings, it's been a very long time that we've conducted that kind of thing. So what we have now presently is what that is being put together and sent an appropriation. Before, we don't used to have what is called the January to December budget cycle. And we applaud the government for having a January to December budget cycle. But I am coming to look at it as a problem. Why did I say I'm coming to look at it as a problem? So the people in government are trying to rush to meet up that January to December, leaving a lot of things covered. Now, if you look at the allocation of the legislators, if you know what is called lump sum, it's just money that is
that brings us to the question. They are trying to suspend Ningi, somebody who initially appeared to be very, aligning, to him, said all of them are culpable.
Yeah.
Because he said some senators got 500 million.
Yes.
500. That is $500 million.
Yes.
This is the first time Nigerians heard of this. We all rant when we heard of the 160 million vehicle, right?
Yeah.
But now, 500. It's like they are sharing our common patrimony.
Yeah. So the reality is, if you look at what the senator said, a lot of people mistake it like he is trying to cite Ningi. He is not.
Okay.
He is just saying his own. But what he said is, he did not got the money, but he did not face the press. What he means is there is a way. There is a way to do this thing. If you have noticed something, there is a way to do this particular thing. That means you are not to face the press like what Ningi did.
But he ended up also facing the press.
Yes.
To expose. Can we say it is God that is actually catching up with
So the reality is, I think our process need to be really looked into.
Okay.
Right? Process in the sense that our constitution, I just told you that the constitution is silent when it comes to issues of suspension, but it only says that you cannot expel anybody that is elected by his constituents, right? But he is being suspended now because of misconduct that they feel
misconduct in court.
In misconduct of their own standard procedures in the House of the Senate. So what we're saying is, the reality is, these people are public servants. These people are people we send to represent us. All we expect from them is to face us when there is an issue, right? And we will face them with what we think.
Do we have the lever to face them?
So at the stand now, we actually don't have. Because now if you look at it, Abdul Ningi is a hero from the citizen side. He is a bad person from his colleagues in the Senate. So we don't know what will happen after 3 months. Will he go ahead and release a public apology, all right? Or will he continue with that point of thing? And I still ask, personally, I ask this question, is he doing it for the mandate of the people? Because what I don't like is the fact that there is a conversation in the House of the Senate yesterday that some members are saying this is a conversation about the leadership of the House. Or they went further to sectionalize it, that it's a fight between
of the Senate.
Yes.
Was saying this is the aftermath of emergence of Akpabio.
Yes, and then it's a fight between the northern.
Is it really state-manly?
Yeah. So if you look at it, I don't think it is, because this is a conversation of a budget padding, right? It's a conversation around money that is being inserted that is not accounted for. So what does that has to do with choosing a Senate president that is from the South? So now there is that point of conversation of it's a fight between the northern and the southern senators. And then immediately after his suspension, they said Abdul Ningi resigned from being the chairman of the Northern Senators Forum. Obviously, maybe it will come at a point that they did not follow him to do what he think is
you think maybe
right.
they throw him off the bus?
The
Northern senators have they really actually supported him?
Yeah. So if you look at it, I think the Deputy Senate President, the senator from Kano, said something around. They had a conversation with him, right? They had a sit-down conversation to know what he is claiming, what he has and stuff. I don't think they have reached to a logical conclusion before he went to the public. But their whole question is, if you look at it, the whole entire question is, why did he face the public with this kind of information without coming to discuss it in the House first?
Meaning it could have been self-serving.
Yes, that's what they are thinking.
Now, what do you think should be done? Because the body language is that this matter will fizzle out maybe tomorrow.
To be honest, I will tell you, I watched a politician in person of Amechi one time. He said, anything happen in Nigeria and it will go. anything can happen and anything can go. So we are a country that has breaking news on daily basis. I will tell you, yesterday when these issues of budget padding started, right? When it was heated, at some point in the evening, it started dying down because there was a conversation of an issue in Wuse Market, right? And before the issue of budget padding, there is an issue of adopted children in Kaduna, and that died. And then this one came up, and this one is coming up. So the reality is, and that's a call for all citizens, you know, we need to really stand up and ask questions.
Are you really following the money?
So if you look at what, if you look at what we do with follow the money, we can't be everywhere. And that's why we limit ourselves into some strategic places based on our contingency plan.
But could there be a better place than maybe following the budget?
We do what is called following money in basic education, basic health, water and sanitation, particularly. All right. Now, what we're saying is we have an open source model that each and every citizen can adopt and use our own model to track government spending. But I just want you to know something, Malamza. You cannot track what you don't know. I just told you from 2016 downward, 469 legislators, right, has been having their constituency project in secrecy, right? So, and they find their way to just collect something in as much as these people just nominate, and then it will be domiciled in a ministry or it will be around the concurrent list or what have you, but they still find their way into this thing. So the reality is there is still that secrecy act that is happening in Nigeria despite signing to the Open Government Partnership as well as the Freedom of Information Law. We still have issues of secrecy in the country.
Of course, in the earlier part of the program, we cited Abdul Ningi. He was also suspended.
Yes.
At a time. We said this issue of pardon got traction when he exploded and said that was what the leadership of the House of Reps did at certain time. Is pardon a Nigerian creation or we just abuse it in Nigeria?
So the reality is it's not a Nigerian creation, right? As the word implies. It's not a Nigerian creation. A lot of things happening, even in the developed nations.
Like US.
Yeah, it happens. But what they do differently is when there is allegation, they give you time to prove it. And they give themselves time to investigate that matter. That is what they do differently from us. I know there is a case of Julius Malema with the National Assembly of South Africa. It has happened. There have been a case in Uganda as well. There have been a case in Kenya. There have been a case in a lot of countries like that. But what they do differently is they don't suspend, right? So maybe even if they get to that point of suspension, it will be after investigation, after what you have asserted, you have proved what you've asserted, and then it's not, you know, the real truth. And so there will be consequences of your own actions, right? So, but what we're seeing differently here is suspending a legislator because he put out a whistleblower, right, is something that is normal in Nigeria. We've seen Abdul Ningi being suspended. There are other people that were suspended before him, and now we're seeing Abdul Ningi. And funny enough, Abdul Ningi used to be a House of Reps member as well.
Yeah. Now, finally, Mukhtar, before I let you go, is there any positive side to pardon?
So, like before, to some extent, there is that point of development in pardon.
Okay.
Thank you. Development in pardon in the sense that a legislator might have noticed something that is not really, it's the want and need of his people, and it's not captured, right? So might decide to follow the appropriate means of adding and also defend that appropriation, the additional thing, and that is development. So that's why I always say there's a journal from University of Nigeria in Nsukka that I advise people to read is Budget Padding and National Development in Nigeria. It's a subject of Nigeria, and you could see how budget padding is has been traced to back in years, and then how developmental project has come into issues of budget padding and thing. Malam Hamza, the main focus is people. right? The main focus is the people. The main focus of budget, the legislators, and every other person is the people, is the common man in Nigeria, is you and I.
But it's been abused here.
It's been really abused. And I think we need to see what will happen. I have seen Serap say it, they will sue the 10th Assembly, which is a good thing to do. But I think as citizens, as people, as media men, as civil society people, all we need to do is to stand up and ask questions. We might not see the changes now, but definitely the change will come.
Thank you very much, Modibbo, for coming to the program. Because, of course, we've been interfacing with Mukhtar Halilu Modibbo, who is the Secretary General, Follow the Money, a unit of connected development, discussing the pardon in the National Assembly. We hope you enjoyed this aspect of the program.